2017 BMW C650 Sport, C650 GT. Nobody blurs the line between scooter and proper motorcycle better than the engineers at BMW, and the C650 range is no exception. The 2017 C650 Sport and GT models are a direct carryover from the 16 model year, but that's not surprising given how difficult it would be to improve upon the bundle of features already built in. I mean, it's a scooter with traction control and ABS on board, plus a relatively large and powerful engine with a sophisticated engine management system, so this is not your grandfather's scooter. I have a great appreciation for German engineering, so I'm looking to see what Allbeamer has tucked away on its not-so-little maxi scooter. Continue reading for my review of the BMW C650 GT and C650 Sport. GT. Looking at these two, the first thing you'll notice is how beefy they really are. None of this paper-thin, stamped sheet metal stuff, but a real robust body that almost gives light to the scooter classification. The next thing you'll notice is how different they are from one another. While both carry a minimal step-through with an adjustable windshield and two-up seat, the rest of the package has significant differences. Starting with the GT, we have a rather full front fairing that creates a sizable air pocket for the rider with a vented windshield to help minimize the head buffet effect. The rather clunky cheek fairings flow into the large with little grace, and while I, personally, don't care for the stodgy look of the front end, I recognize that longtime fans of the brand will likely be okay with it. One of the benefits of having such a large body is that you get to have a wide seat, and the GT's seat comes with a short backrest that, while it doesn't actually allow you to lean against it for support, it will act to keep your butt firmly planted with a pair of large O-shit handles flanking the P-pad for passenger comfort. Both rides enjoy a rather voluminous under-seat storage space capable of carrying two full-face helmets, which is quite a bit of storage by any standards. A pair of panels below the passenger seat act as a sort of faux panniers to complete the tour-tastic looks of the Gran Turismo. As the ingeniously clever name suggests, the Sport model has an almost sport bike entry with a bit more grace and flow than the GT enjoys, but seems to maintain almost the same level of protection for the rider. Among the differences are a slightly smaller seat that drops the rider backrest in favor of a simple step up to the P-pad area. The Ascent sheds the pannier-like panels in favor of a tapered subframe look that draws to a point over the taillight housing. In contrast, the Sport loses much of the blockiness displayed by the GT in favor of a sleeker overall look. Sport. A tubular steel frame uses cast aluminum sections to complete the assembly while keeping things strong but light. The steering head comes set at 25.4 degrees with a 3.6-inch rake for rather agile handling characteristics, though I expect straight-line tracking will suffer a bit at highway speeds. I must confess that I laughed out loud with delight when I noticed the 40mm UST forks on the front end. Can you imagine? A scooter with inverted front forks larger than some street bikes and even cruisers. What's next? A liter engine. Both the front forks and the rear shock on the swing mount drivetrain unit give up 4.5 inches of travel for a plush ride. Cast aluminum rims mount the 15-inch hoops that run in a surprisingly fat format at 120/70 up front and 160/60 in back. I chuckled again when I got to the brakes. What we have here is a scooter that runs dual, 270mm front brake discs with a single 270mm disc in back and all-around twin-pot calipers with which to bind them. It's enough to make one wonder if there is a Deutsch equivalent to the word overkill. Thankfully, the factory installed its proprietary ABS system to help moderate all that braking power. As is implied by their classifications as scooters, these rides use the traditional swing mount drive system that uses the engine and transmission as a stressed member in place of the swing arm. Much like the rest of the assembly, the drivetrain pushes the limits of what I can consider to be scooterish. The liquid-cooled, Parallel twin mill measures out at 79 mm by 66 mm for bore and stroke, respectively, and that adds up to a whopping 647 cc total. Dual overhead cams time the 4-valve heads, and the electronic fuel injection and closed-loop catalytic converter helps the engine meet the stringent Euro 4 emissions standards. In keeping with scooter convention, a continuously variable transmission provides twist-it-and-forget-it operation with no manual shifting or clutch lever to worry about. The performance numbers, as you might imagine, are not very scooter-like. This plant cranks out 60 horsepower at 7,500 revolutions per minute, and is especially grundy with 46 pound-feet of torque at 6 grand for a top speed over 100 miles per hour. Individual results may vary, and approximately 51 miles per gallon. GT. Coming in at the bottom of the range, the C650 Sport still commands a rather lofty price at $10,095 including ABS. It can be had in Valencia Orange Metallic Matte, Black Storm Metallic or Light White. The Tour-tastic C650 GT is predictably a little higher but not much at $10,595. On the GT, the orange paint option is subbed for frozen bronze metallic and it also comes with ABS as part of the standard equipment package. Scooters this big and looks don't come along every day, but I still had a few to consider before settling on my competitor. Yamaha's Big Max fell a little short on displacement and technology, yet somehow has the nerve to cost almost as much as the Beamer GT. Next, I looked to Piaggio and its Delta-configured trike, the MP3. As cool as it is with the leany front end and obvious stability advantage, that alone was enough to shove it into a separate category before I even had a chance to consider the engine size offset. This left me with naught but the Bergman 650 Executive by Suzuki as a serious, straight-across competitor. Appearances are similar, and the Bergman has much the same beefiness as the Beamer to include the large front fairing and generous windshield. Bergman riders also get a similar backrest, but Suzuki took the extra step of installing a stock passenger backrest that isn't as much a rest as it is a retainer, but safety and comfort go hand in hand, at least as far as peace of mind is concerned. Engine size is very comparable with a 638cc mill on the Bergman versus the 647cc plant in the Beamer, and both are really pushing well into proper motorcycle range. One major difference in the drivetrain lies in the transmixers. While BMW runs the standard CVT gearbox, Suzuki graces its ride with the Suzuki electronic automatic and manual shift that gives the rider the option of enjoying a more interactive ride experience. Amazingly, Suzuki tops BMW at the till with a rather vain $10,999 price tag, though to be fair, I consider both to be a little over the top in this department. Given all this, if I had to pick, I'd go BMW all the way if I were in the market for such a machine. My husband and fellow motorcycle rider, TJ Hinton, says, "Okay, so it's a scooter by virtue of the swing mount drivetrain, CVT tranny and, minimal, step-through body. Fine. I would offer, though, that if you want a ride with an automatic transmission and comparable engine size and can live without the vestigial step-through, the Honda CTX 700 is a fine fit. It certainly qualifies as a proper motorcycle, has the displacement and rolls for a much lower $7,499 MSRP. Literally the only benefit with the C650 family is that minimal step-through, which is great if you really need it because reasons, but otherwise is not enough to justify the extra expense of the BMW product. My husband just can't understand why anyone would want a scooter when he could have a real motorcycle. Bless his heart. The C650 siblings certainly do blur the line. It's a scooter I'd feel good about taking on the highway, so it opens quite a bit of commuter options as well as weekend getaway opportunities. It's a nice ride for someone who wants the freedom and convenience of two-wheeled transportation but doesn't want to go the whole motorcycle scene.